What is wisdom? We chase it like a butterfly, thinking if we can just catch it, we can hold it in our hands. But wisdom is not a thing to be caught. It is not something you can find at the top of a mountain or at the end of a book. It is not a certificate you earn or a trophy you win. Wisdom is quieter than that. It is the gentle rain that soaks into the soil of our lives, nurturing the seeds of our experiences until they grow into something meaningful. Think of it like this. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. You can learn that from a book. It's a fact. But wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Wisdom is practical. It's the application of knowledge in a way that makes sense, in a way that brings harmony. It is the quiet voice that tells you what to do with what you know. It's less about having all the answers and more about asking the right questions. It's about understanding people, understanding yourself, and understanding your small place in this vast, complicated world. It is the grace to accept what you cannot change and the courage to change what you can. There was once a young man named Leo who lived in a small town nestled in the shadow of a great old mountain. Clever and curious, Leo could read books faster than anyone else in his village and solve puzzles that left others scratching their heads. Yet, for all his knowledge, he felt a hollowness inside, a sense that something was missing. He looked at the elders in his town, people who had not read as many books, but who carried a quiet calm within them. They knew when to speak and when to be silent, how to comfort a crying child or mend a broken friendship. They had something he did not. They had wisdom. Determined to find what he lacked, Leo packed a small bag with bread, cheese, and a single book. He told his family he was going to climb the great mountain. Why? His mother asked, her brow furrowed with worry. To find wisdom, he replied, with the certainty only the young can possess. He started with quick, confident steps, his mind full of facts and figures about mountain climbing. The first few days were easy. The path was wide and the slope was gentle. Leo felt proud of his progress, reciting facts to himself about the rocks and birds he saw. He was a library of information, walking up a hill, but then the mountain began to test him. The path grew narrow and steep. A sudden storm soaked him to the bone, and he had to find shelter in a small cave, shivering and alone. His bread ran out, his confidence began to crack. All the books he had read could not make him warm. All the historical dates he had memorized could not fill his empty stomach. He was just a small, cold boy on a very big mountain. Defeated, he started to make his way back down. On his descent, Leo met an old woman tending a small garden on a precarious ledge. Her face was a map of wrinkles, but her eyes were bright and clear. She saw his state and offered him a warm bowl of soup and a place by her fire. She didn't ask him about the books he had read or the facts he knew. She asked him if he was cold. She asked him if he was hungry. She listened as he spoke of his failed quest, simply nodding as her hands gently tended the small, resilient flowers that grew in her garden, defying the harsh mountain winds. In that small act of kindness, that quiet moment of shared humanity, Leo felt the first real flicker of understanding. Wisdom, he realized, was not a prize waiting at the top of a mountain, but something found in compassion, humility, and the gentle presence of another soul. There is another wonderful proverb, one that holds a universe of wisdom in its simple words. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. This is a saying about regret, but it is also a powerful saying about hope. It acknowledges the past. It looks back and says, yeah, it would have been better if we had started sooner. If we had planted that tree 20 years ago, today we would have shade, we would have fruit, we would have a tall, strong presence that we could enjoy. We can all look back at our lives and see the trees we wish we had planted. We think of the skill we wish we had learned, the relationship we wish we had nurtured, the healthy habit we wish we had started. It is easy to get stuck there, in the shade of the tree that never was. Regret can be a heavy blanket. It can paralyze us. We sit on the barren ground, lamenting the fact that we did not plant the seed 20 years ago, and we fail to see the seed we are holding in our hand today. But the proverb does not end with regret. It offers a way forward. It gives us a second chance. The second best time is now. This is a call to action. It is a message of profound hope. It tells us that while we cannot change the past, we have complete power over this present moment. The past is a memory, the future is a dream. But now, this very second is real. And in this real moment, you can plant a tree. The tree you plant today will not give you shade tomorrow. It will take time. It will require patience and care, just like the river cutting through the rock. But one day, it will be a tree, and your future self will thank you for the courage you showed today. Do not let the ghost of the unplanted tree from 20 years ago stop you from planting a forest that will begin to grow this very afternoon. The best time may be gone, but the second best time is always with us. It is always now. There is an old proverb that says, "A river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence." Think about that for a moment. A single drop of water is nothing against a giant boulder. You could splash it all day and nothing would happen. But a river, a constant, steady flow of water over years and years and years, that river can carve a canyon. It can wear down the hardest stone and change the very shape of the earth. We often think that to make a big change in our lives, we need a big, powerful action. We need a sudden burst of motivation, a grand gesture. We want to be the lightning bolt that splits the rock in two. But wisdom teaches us that this is rarely how true, lasting change happens. True change is the river. It is the small daily act. It is the decision to be a little kinder today than you were yesterday. These actions seem small. They seem insignificant, like a single drop of water. But when you repeat them day after day, they accumulate a gentle, unstoppable force. That is persistence. A person who learns a new language does so by studying for a few minutes every day, not by cramming for 24 hours straight. The friendship that lasts a lifetime is built on 1,000 small acts of listening and support, not one grand, expensive gift. So when you feel overwhelmed by a great challenge, when you look at the rock in your path and feel powerless, remember the river. Do not focus on the size of the rock. Focus on the next small drop. What is the one small thing you can do today and tomorrow? And the day after that, be persistent. Be consistent. Let your small, steady efforts over time carve a new path for you. That is how you move mountains. Not with a single, mighty heave, but with the quiet, relentless persistence of a river flowing towards the sea. Leo's journey up the mountain was more than a test of strength or knowledge. It was a journey inward, a search for something deeper than facts or achievements. Along the way, Leo discovered that wisdom is not found at the summits, but in the quiet moments listening, learning, and connecting with others. He learned that true wisdom is not about having all the answers, but about asking the right questions and being open to growth. The elders he met showed him that wisdom is carried in kindness, humility, and the willingness to listen, qualities that cannot be measured by tests or trophies. Leo's story reminds us that the pursuit of wisdom is a lifelong path. It is found in our relationships, our challenges, and our willingness to keep learning, no matter where we are on the mountain. In the end, wisdom is not a destination, but a way of seeing the world with compassion, curiosity, and the courage to grow. A single conversation with a wise person is better than 10 years of study. This proverb really speaks right to the heart of how wisdom is shared. It doesn't dismiss books or study knowledge is important, as we've said, but it elevates something else, human connection. It suggests that wisdom is not just a collection of facts, but a living, breathing thing that is passed from one heart to another. It's not transmitted through ink on a page, but through the tone of a voice, the look in an eye, and the shared space of a conversation. Think of Leo, our young man. He had spent years studying. His head was just full of the words of others. He had a library inside him, but honestly, it was all theoretical. It was like reading 100 books about how to swim without ever getting in the water. His mind was full, but his life was unchanged. Then, he had a single, simple encounter with the old woman on the mountain. She didn't give him a lecture. She didn't assign him a book to read. She gave him soup. She listened. And in that quiet exchange, he learned more about kindness, humility, and what truly matters than in all his years of study. We've all experienced this, maybe without even realizing it. A talk with a grandparent who shares a story from their past, and suddenly we understand our family in a new way. A conversation with a teacher who sees a potential in us that we never saw in ourselves. A chat with a friend who has gone through a similar struggle, and suddenly we feel less alone. These conversations are transformative. They're not just an exchange of information, they're an exchange of humanity. A wise person can distill a lifetime of experience of mistakes, triumphs, and lessons learned into a few simple words that land directly in our hearts. This is why mentors are so important. It's why we should seek out the company of people we admire, people who live their lives with the grace and calm we aspire to. We should have the humility to ask questions and the patience to listen, truly listen to the answers. Put down the phone, close the book for an hour, go have a cup of tea with someone older, someone who has navigated more of life's storms than you have. You may find that the wisdom you gain in that single hour will illuminate your path for the next 10 years. Why do we need this thing called wisdom? What good is it really? In our fast-paced world, we value speed, intelligence, and success. Wisdom can seem slow, old-fashioned, and unnecessary. But this is a misunderstanding. Wisdom is not an accessory, it is a necessity. It is the map and the compass for the journey of our lives. Without it, we are simply wandering. We might be moving fast, but we are moving without direction. We might be accumulating wealth and accomplishments, but we end up feeling lost and empty. Wisdom gives us perspective. When we are young, every problem feels like the end of the world. A failed exam, a broken heart, a mistake at work, these things can feel enormous, all-consuming. Wisdom is the ability to step back and see the bigger picture. It's the quiet voice that reminds you, this too shall pass. It doesn't diminish the pain of the moment, but it places it in the context of a long and varied life. It helps you understand that this difficult chapter is not the whole book. This perspective brings peace. It replaces anxiety with a gentle resilience, allowing you to weather the storms without breaking. Wisdom also guides our relationships. It is the tool that helps us navigate the complicated world of other people. It teaches us empathy, the ability to see the world from another person's point of view. It teaches us forgiveness, both for others and for ourselves. It helps us know when to hold on and when to let go. A clever person might win an argument, but a wise person knows how to preserve a relationship. Wisdom understands that being right is often far less important than being kind. It allows us to build connections that are deep, meaningful, and lasting. Ultimately, wisdom leads to a better life, not necessarily an easier life, but a richer one. It helps us find joy in small things, a shared meal, a beautiful sunset, a moment of quiet reflection. It helps us face hardship with courage and grace. It allows us to live with a sense of purpose, to know what truly matters to us, and to align our actions with those values. It is the difference between a life that is merely lived and a life that is truly felt. It is the art of building a home within yourself, a place of peace and understanding that you can return to no matter where your journey takes you. In the end, what is the final message? What is the great secret to a wise life? Perhaps it is this: your life is a book and you are the author. Many chapters have already been written. There are chapters of joy and chapters of sorrow. There are chapters of confusion and chapters of clarity. You can look back on them, you can learn from them, you can see the characters who have come and gone, the plot twists you never saw coming. This is your history. This is where your knowledge comes from. But the most important chapter is the one you are writing today. It is the unwritten chapter. The page is blank, the ink is wet, and you hold the pen. All the wisdom you have gathered from your journey so far, from your personal mountains, from the proverbs you've learned, from the conversations that have changed you, all of it comes down to this moment. It comes down to the next sentence you choose to write. Will it be a sentence of kindness, of courage, of forgiveness, of hope? The beauty of wisdom is that it is not a final state of being. You do not simply become wise and then you are done. It is a continuous process of becoming. It is a daily choice to live with an open heart. It is the choice to keep planting trees, knowing you may not sit in their shade. It is the choice to be the river, patiently flowing. It is the choice to turn the page and start a new chapter, no matter what was written in the last one. Your story is not over. The most beautiful parts may be yet to come. So, go, pick up your pen. Look at the blank page before you, not with fear, but with a quiet sense of wonder. You have everything you need. You have your experiences. You have your heart. You have the capacity for endless love and compassion. Write a beautiful story. Write a story that is honest and true. Write a story that, when read by others, makes them feel less alone. Write the next chapter of your life with all the wisdom you can muster. And know that the act of writing it with intention and with love is the wisest thing you can do.